spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, the human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sport.
Brought to you by Allstate. For insurance policies to protect your car, your home, your life and health, business too, you're in good hands with Allstate. By United Airlines. Sports figures fly to more U.S. cities on United than any other airline. Fly the friendly skies of United. And by Mobile, and mobile dealers from coast to coast.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim McKay. There were two most significant developments in the wide world of sports this week. First of all, this was the week that Muhammad Ali, born Cassius Marcellus Clay, had to take his heavyweight championship out of the country to defend it. And when he did, he found unexpected opposition from a plotting Canadian trial horse named George Chuvalo. Now, this afternoon, you're going to have an opportunity to form your own opinion on this fight by watching our exclusive videotape. Also, you'll hear the champion himself give his version of exactly what happened up there in Toronto. A long way down the Atlantic coast from Canada, in Sebring, Florida, there was another most significant event. It was overshadowed by tragedy, the 12-hour Grand Prix of Endurance automobile race, the disaster that took place when one driver and several spectators lost their lives. These tragedies kind of overshadowed the simple fact of victory. Victory for an American car, which thereby stamped itself as the car to beat in important international sports car competition. First of all, we're going to have our report on the Sebring race, and here we go to my colleague, Bill Fleming.
Thank you, Jim. This former B-17 base in Central Florida is the scene of the 12 Hours of Sebring. This is Bill Fleming welcoming you to the Grand Prix of Endurance. This is the 12 Hours of Sebring. And during the next 12 hours, we're going to have a lot of questions answered that are in the minds of racing fans everywhere. Can the Chaparrals repeat the victory that they won here a year ago? Can the Fords win 2 in a row, such as they did with the Continental, the long road race, this being the second one on the road to Le Mans? And number 3, can Ferrari come back after a rather dismal start at the beginning of this year? Working with us is former World's Driving Champion Phil Hill. Let's get a quick word with him right now. Phil?
Thanks, Bill. Well, here we are at Sebring again for the second round of the Constructors' Championship in the automobile racing scene. It's about the first one that we've had that all the teams are really fully here. Ford is here with 11 cars. Ferrari's here with 1 new, very, very strong car. Chaparral is here with 2 cars this time. Jim Hall and Hap Sharp will be driving one, and Joachim Bonnier and myself will be driving the other. Well, we're getting underway pretty shortly.
Okay, thanks very much, Phil. Here are some of the other drivers who'll be battling it out. Jackie Stewart will be in car number 24 with Graham Hill, who's strapped in the cockpit right now. The Bandini Scarfiotti team and the Ferrari Dino number 46. Mike Parks and Bob Bondurant in the Ferrari 27. That's the P3 prototype. This is Dan Gurney, who set the qualifying mark of 2 minutes 54 and 6/10 seconds in that Mark II Ford prototype. And this is the course of Sebring. This will give you a little better idea, I think, as we look at the map of what these drivers have to do over this 5.2-mile course. Now, here's the start-finish line, and these, of course, are the pits. The cars will scream away from here on the Le Mans start, make an abrupt left turn, go down through the S's, left turn, then right turn, then a big bend as they approach the very dangerous hairpin turn, 110-degree turn here. And you can see what it looks like, a big turn to the right. They have to go down almost to 20 miles an hour to make it. Then along the warehouse straightaway. The warehouse straightaway goes into the Webster turn, a sharp right turn, then an equally hard left turn, and then a turn to take them out on the north-south runway. Now, this is the longest part of the course, nearly a mile, a turn down the east-west runway, and then back toward the start-finish line, and they'll be screaming by here in about 3 minutes. In other words, it's a 3-minute course for 104 miles an hour. So we'll be back for the exciting Le Mans start at Sebring in just a moment.
Looks good.
Edwin Wirtz has never flown a plane, but United Airlines won't leave the ground without him. He's United's head chef at Chicago, and what he says goes. His English isn't so good, but his sauces are sublime. There are more head chefs like Edwin Wirtz working at United. coast to coast. Each convinced that hospitality is a personal thing, and that hospitality really means fine food. Come join us in the friendly skies of United and bring your appetite.
By the friendly skies of United.
Now it's easy to get United's new personal credit card. And starting April 9th, charge your flights. Your United ticket agent has the details.
We're just seconds away now from the start. Dan Gurney pacing nervously on the opposite side of the track. Here's his car number 2. He was the fastest qualifier. The starting flag is up and it's down, and we're underway. In just a moment, these engines will scream to life, and they won't be stopped for the next 12 hours for the lucky ones. First car off is the Dino Ferrari car number 46, the Scarfiotti Bandini car, and away he goes. And Gurney still is not out. He was the first car on the starting grid, and it's still parked there. He can't get it started. Everybody else moving away, and here is the Dino Ferrari, the small Ferrari, under 2 liters, going out to the early lead. Graham Hill is close behind. Everybody else is underway except Dan Gurney, and he's still sitting there. The mechanic has gotten inside the car, and it still isn't started. Here's Graham Hill taking over the lead from the Dino Ferrari. And there is Gurney. He's finally off and running amid the shouts of all this crowd around the pit area. So Gurney is on the course. Whoops, somebody hitting a bale of hay on the far side, and it is car number 17. Car number 17 is the Weitz's Fisher entry, a GT Ford 40 from Canada. We'll be covering much of the action for you during the 12 hours of Sebring, both the nighttime and daylight hours from our Goodyear blimp. And you can see the cars now moving down, and that is Dan Gurney down the warehouse straightaway in that dark car, and he is really moving. Gurney off to a disastrous start after being the fastest qualifier. Now here is the Mike Parks Ferrari coming by, moving up very fast. Graham Hill and the Ferrari, car number 27, has taken the lead, but Gurney is moving. Gurney in that big 7-liter Mark II Ford prototype. And so this race is underway in a most unusual fashion, with the fastest car, the fastest qualifier, being literally the last man out. And he's now starting to move through the course as they approach the S's. The abrupt turn to the left, then another one to the right. And here's Pedro Rodriguez in the other Ferrari, the open Ferrari. This is Graham Hill in car number 24, the Ford. As the cars start to spread out now, after that start, here's Walt Hansgen's Ford, car number 3, currently in 5th place as we see them, and the Chaparrals going by. Now Gurney has moved up to 7th place. Well, that is really an unbelievable job of driving for Gurney. And now the Bonnier Hill entry. The Chaparral number 12 is in the pits, and there is oil all over the back window, all over the back of the car, and they indeed have plenty of trouble here. The car number 11 Chaparral is still out there on the course with Hap Sharp and Jim Hall, but this car is definitely in the pits. Let's find out what happened. Phil, you got an awful lot of oil back there. Is that a bad sign?
It's supposed to be inside the engine, not out.
What's happened?
We've had this oil leak all weekend, and nobody can find out where it's coming out.
Ferrari seem to be dominating the thing in the early going. Does that surprise you?
No, not particularly. I think Ferrari's always been very strong here. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if they won.
Well, here we go. Let's see if we can get her going and running hot again.
Okay, Bill.
A lot of valuable time lost in the pit there. That sign was the Ferrari sign, a plus 22. That means that the Ferrari number 27, driven by Mike Parks, has that much of a lead over the second place car, which right now is Dan Gurney, believe it or not. Gurney has moved ahead of Ken Miles, so it's Ferrari, Ford, and Graham Hill is losing ground on every lap. He has dropped back into 4th place, and Pedro Rodriguez in car number 26, the Ferrari, the open car, is now running in 5th place. So it's developed into a fantastically close battle, with Gurney now taking lead on the car number 27, the Ferrari. Here comes the Chaparral bias, but as you saw, valuable time was lost there by Bonnier in that car. And now the Ferrari pit is signaling that Mike Parks has an 18-second lead on Dan Gurney, so Gurney has picked up 4 seconds on just 1 lap. And that's the way they stand right now, as Gurney is setting some really fine times, and well, he should with that big 7-liter Ford. Oh, here's trouble. A Ferrari number 35, this is a Florida entry, Jack Slontag and Larry Perkins, up into the sand and the straw as the Ferrari driven by Mike Parks weaves around the course, holding what last time we checked was an 18-second lead over the second-place car, Dan Gurney. Ken Miles and Lloyd Ruby are in that car, and this is the Bonnier Hill entry, and it's still smoking. At Sharp coming along. He and Jim Hall will be in the Chaparral number 11, but they have been recording rather slow lap times. Ken Miles' pit crew indicates he's doing 3 minutes and 2 seconds, and that means that he's doing about 102 miles an hour. The Chaparrals are now both in the pits. Both in the pits, and the word is they're out of the race.
Let's get the story from you on what happened.
Well, Bill, we don't seem to be able to build a closed car as well as we did the open cars that we campaigned here last year.
As far as the mechanical failure is concerned, what did you attribute it to?
The additional weight of the prototype car, which is
300 pounds, yeah,
required by the rules, and everything we have is designed for a lightweight automobile.
Did you have any misgivings, Jeff, that might happen when you came into this race?
Well, we didn't think we'd be fast enough, but we thought we had our durability problems flicked.
Well, it's a real tough break, and I know that you're going to work awfully hard before Le Mans.
There's not much time left, Bill.
Well, just about 2 hours of this race have gone by, and both Chaparrals. It's distressing news, Bill, to all the Chaparral followers, and certainly to all of you on the crew. Any explanation?
Well, I mean, what is there to say, except that they're new cars, and they're just unproven.
Where was the oil coming from?
Apparently it's coming out of a core plug or something in the back of the engine behind the flywheel or somewhere we can't get at it.
You had misgivings when you first
Yeah.
saw it. Well, even though Phil Hill is out of the race as a driver, he's going to be working with us for the next 10 or 11 hours or so, Phil. It'll be a long day and a long night. And I know you'd much rather be out there driving, but we're going to appreciate you getting the stories of what's really going to happen. How does it look now with the Ferraris? And, of course, Gurney's come up pretty fast.
Yeah, I know he has. See, but the Ferraris look awful strong, too. It'll be very interesting to see how it develops.
Now let's get back out on the course.
While we were bringing you that report on the Chaparral's departure for the race, Dan Gurney has taken over the lead. He has eaten up the 18 seconds that he was behind the Ferrari number 27, so he's the leader. And we'll be back with more of the 12 Hours of Sebring in just a moment.
What's the toughest athletic test of fitness? In my experience, it's certainly the decathlon. These films show some of the 10 track and field events that test all-around ability. Here's the discus, the javelin, the shot put. Believe me, you need lots of energy and stamina, which brings up today's Wheaties. This big G stands for goodness. All the very special goodness of selected wheat is packed into today's Wheaties. I started eating Wheaties, breakfast of champions, when I was so high, and I'm eating them today. Big and brawny flakes they are, with a kernel full of wheat in every flake. And today's Wheaties actually stay crisp when you put milk on them. Today's Wheaties, more than ever before, breakfast of champions. They sure give me a boost.
Dan Gurney has taken over the lead, and the Fords are now running 1-2, with the Ferraris dropping back to third place. And here are the signs up on the pit wall. Since Phil Hill is with us now, he can better interpret them than we can. Phil?
Well, then the Carroll was out there. Carroll Shelby, it sort of looks like he's trying to get Ken to slow down a bit and not go racing along after Gurney.
Well, they actually accomplished what they wanted to do. They wanted to set the pace for the Ferraris, and that they are, because Gurney goes through the Webster here in the lead, and he's followed by Miles. Here's Ken.
Here they are again. Now, he's telling Dan to stay at 3 minutes. And Ken as well, you see.
Okay, Carroll Shelby, they're pointing, isn't he?
Yep.
3 minutes would be 104 miles an hour on the average. Now, how fast, actually, are you going to go at maximum speed?
Oh, the Fords are going around 170, I guess. The Fords and, and they're down to about 20, I guess, on the hairpin.
Well, and here now is Gurney, the lead car, into the pits. Tire change and probably fuel. Gurney getting out of the car. Jerry Grant standing by. And so we'll get a word with Dan now about how things are going. Jerry Grant is in the car. And the leader is in the pits. Good stop.
Dan, what happened at the start of the race?
I think they warmed it up a little bit too much, and then the heat boiled back into the carburetor, and we had a little vapor in there, so it took a while to start it.
Boy, what a job of driving you did in the first 40 minutes.
Well, I was just taking it easy, really.
Sure didn't look like it. You were about 2 minutes behind at the start, and all of a sudden we look at the scoreboard, and you're up there in second place.
Well, we're moving up, but it'll go back. That's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Are you happy the way the thing is going right now?
Yeah, very nice.
Good. I know you want to get a little rest. Good luck.
Here's the pit sign for Ferrari number 27, the third place car. He's now 83 seconds behind the lead car, car number 2, driven by Dan Gurney. Now let's get the word from Carroll Shelby, who's managing these 2 lead cars.
Carroll, what was your strategy at the start of the race?
To let Dan Gurney lead the race. Then he lost about a minute on the start. His car didn't start, so it took him about an hour and 15 minutes to get back in, get into the lead, and have Miles follow along behind him, just somewhere ahead of the Ferraris, just to keep them nibbling at Miles' car and try to keep them extended and running as fast as they possibly can.
Ken Miles following Dan Gurney. The Ford's running 1-2 now, with the Ferraris in 3rd and 4th places and seemingly running slower laps and dropping farther and farther back of the Fords. And now car number 27 is moving into the pit area, and it is Mike Parks who'll be getting out. Bob Bondurant is waiting to get back in the car. And so the Ferrari's taking a little bit more time now in the pits. Phil, I don't know whether this is a routine stop or not, but Bondurant seems anxious to get out there.
Yeah, it looks like a routine stop. Bondurant's there talking to me about what's wrong with the car, apparently.
Wait a minute.
They're changing brake pads, it looks like. Seems a bit soon to be changing brake pads this early in the race.
Okay, well, they did a good, fast job on it, but this is a very demanding course, and the Ferrari now with new brake pads is going out, still in 3rd place, and car number 26, that's the Ferrari driven by Pedro Rodriguez, and Mario Andretti is currently in 4th place in the standings, chasing the Fords, and here is trouble. Car number 18, it explodes into flame near the hairpin turn. Car number 18, that is the Comstock entry from Canada, driven by Bob McLean and Jean Ouellette. McLean, the driver, in the car right now, and the car is a mass of flames. The fire engines are out there trying to put out an intense heat near the hairpin curve. The car, unexplainably, just went end over end and burst into flames, as you saw, and is burning fiercely at the time.
Oh, that really looks bad.
Very bad accident near the hairpin curve, and we'll have to wait on the official track bulletin on the condition of the driver, Bob McLean of Canada. As the cars come through the Webster turn now, that sharp right-hand turn followed by a left-hand turn, it is still Dan Gurney and Jerry Grant, their car number 2, in the lead, followed by the Miles Ruby car, and Lloyd Ruby's in the car right now giving relief to Ken Miles, as is Jerry Grant to Dan Gurney. And car number 27, that is the Mike Parks, Bob Bondurant, and Bondurant in the car right now. They're running 3rd. Mario
Here comes
Andretti.
Jerry Grant now.
Boy, and he really gets through there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does.
And here comes Bob Bondurant through the turn, and Mario Andretti. Now let's get a word with Pedro Rodriguez.
Pedro, how are things going for you? It's a long place, but it looks like it's running real smooth.
Well, the car is working okay, and the brakes are not very good. They're going to change pads now.
They are when the car comes in?
Yes, sir.
Are you going back out again?
Yes, right now.
You started off out there today in great shape. The Ferraris were running 1, 2, and 3 for a long time, and it looked like it was going to be a sweep. Did you purposely back off a little bit?
Well, we didn't want to push push it so hard, so we waited to stop the race.
Okay, we're approaching the halfway mark, and you're in fourth, and you're in a real good spot. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Pedro Rodriguez. Now let's get back out on the course. And now we have just received the official track bulletin on that crash of car number 18 near the hairpin turn, and we must sadly report that driver Bob McLean of Canada was fatally injured in that accident.
Chicago go. Bobby Hull of the Blackhawks feels good after winning. Now for some Vitalis, and he'll look good too. Greasy kid stuff. Look at that greasy comb. Not for Bobby Hull. He uses Vitalis because only Vitalis has the greaseless grooming discovery V7. 100% greaseless V7. Bobby's hair combs in place to stay in place. Looks natural too. No grease on his hair, no grease on his comb. Vitalis keeps hair neat all day without grease. Prevents dryness too.
If I use this new Van spray deodorant, will it hide the fact that I'm a secret agent?
Nobody will ever pick up the scent. Because new Band Spray sprays the worry out of being close. Protects you from odor day and night. New Band Spray.
Try it.
Well, here we are now, exactly at the halfway point, Phil. 6 hours yet to go, and it's Ford, Ferrari, Ford, Ferrari.
It's a tremendous battle, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you care to make a projection now as the shadows begin to lengthen? It won't be long before the lights come on.
I think it's pretty hard to make a projection at this point. It's a darn hard circuit and a hard race, and it'll be anybody's guess as to what's going to happen. They're both two very strong teams, and they're both going very hard.
Was there anybody in particular that, let's say, is a better night driver?
I wouldn't wager a guess on it. I mean, the whole mess could fall by the wayside, believe me.
In other words, you think that the Ferraris and Fords could easily destroy each other, and maybe a Porsche come in, huh?
It could happen without any trouble at all.
Well, with 6 hours to go, included in which will be 2.5 hours of darkness, we have still plenty of excitement here at the race at Sebring, Florida. Here's the way the cars stand right now. It's Ford, Ferrari, Ford, Ferrari. And we'll be back with more from Sebring. Right now, let's go to Howard Cosell for the Clay Shimano Championship fight.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. As you 12-hour endurance race, exciting conclusion.
Well, thanks very much. Things stand this way right now. The Fords are running 1 and 2. The Ferraris 3, 4, and 5. We have roughly 3 hours of racing to go. Bill, how do you see it?
Well, this may sound a little funny coming from me, Bill, but I think that the drivers don't have an awful lot to do with it at this point. They're all of a pretty high caliber, the ones that are there in the lead, and I think mostly now it's a mechanical thing. Can these cars that have been going 9 hours plus now last out the remaining 3? It's mostly a mechanical thing.
Well, it is a very curious statement coming from a driver, because you'd think the driver would say, well, it all depends on the daring and the skill of the driver.
No, not at this point. I mean, the night driving is a little bit more difficult, but I think at this point, everyone's trying to knows pretty much what the speed factor of their car is, and they're not driving absolutely all out. I think they're just trying to
get home.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back out on the course of the action now. A quick look at the standings here. When we left you at the halfway mark, the Fords were running first and third, the Ferraris second and fourth. Now the Fords have taken over first and second, and the Ferraris have third and fourth. As darkness begins to fall here, the lights come on, and now we approach what would seemingly be the tough part of racing, Phil Hill.
Oh, it's not so bad, Bill, providing there isn't any rain or fog. The only hard place here are the 2 bends right after the pits, and they're not really well defined, and that's pretty rough.
Now we've just received word that car number 27 is out. The Ferrari with Frank Parks and Bob Bondurant has gone dead on the course, so let's get the word from co-driver Bob Bondurant on what happened to that car. Bob, what happened? All we got was word that it quit.
Oh, when I took over from Mike Parks, we had second gear out at that time. So we're babying the gearbox, and then finally I went through the hairpin over here the last lap, and I couldn't get any gear at all.
Oh, boy.
But I had a couple problems, about 4 or 5 laps not being able to get third gear. And finally it just jammed. It wouldn't go out any gear.
Oh, you had a great race going with those Fords, too.
Thank you. We enjoyed it very much.
You really did, and everybody was saying, well, you know, this could be it, and you were running hot all day.
We were sure trying.
And so, with the Ferrari number 27 out of the race, Pedro Rodriguez and Mario Andretti moved to third, and the Porsche Carrera 6, car number 48, with Don Wester and Scooter Patrick, have moved up into fourth place. We'll be back with more of the Grand Prix of Endurance from Sebring, Florida, in just a moment.
This is Celeste, Secretary of the Future, a beautiful robot that never makes a mistake. She uses a single system that both copies and duplicates at an unheard-of low cost. It's called System A09. For 1 to 10 copies, she just presses a button and gets sharp, black-on-white copies for as little as 3.5 cents each. For 10 to 100 copies, Celeste can prepare her own master or make one from any original with just a flick of the switch. Then she gets 40 copies a minute on ordinary bond paper, and copier costs are as low as .5 cents each. You can't get a Celeste for your office now, but you can get a System A09. For a personal demonstration, call your 3M Business Product Center. Look to 3M for imagination in image making.
And now the question seems to be, if these cars could just hold together for another couple of more hours, will the Fords be able to hang on to that lead that they have? Only one Ferrari in the top three, and we have a report on that now that they may be in trouble. There is an unofficial report that car number 26, driven by Mario Andretti and Pedro Rodriguez, got into some trouble over there, and the car is in the pits, and Phil, it looks like it was in trouble.
Oh, it sure does.
Mario looks very grim there. They're patching up a headlight to get it back on.
You've got to have both lights or you can't continue the race, so looks like they're strapping one on one way or another.
So Mario is back in the car, and uh-oh.
Oh, the thing's caught fire now.
Sort of a flash fire. Mario's out of the car now.
It looks like they've got it out.
Uh-oh, this could be it for the lone Ferrari among the leaders. Both drivers are back over the pit wall, and car number 26 is definitely out of the race. A disappointing blow to the Ferraris. Let's find out about it.
Well, Mario, in this darkness here at Sebring, of course, things were tough to find out, but we do find out that you had trouble with a car on the course. What happened out there?
The gear selector broke, and I tried to shift from fourth to third, and they went into first to lock the rear wheels, and that created a little commotion for me.
How fast were you going when that happened?
I don't know, maybe 140 or so.
Whereabouts did it happen?
Going into the Webster turns.
Tough spot.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a dead-end deal. Nowhere you can go. Spun and must have hit the sand with the front end. Sand piled and damaged the lights, and then when they brought it in, they fixed the lights and tried to restart the car, and I think the carburetor was caught on fire, so that was it.
Well, it's a real tough break after you and Pedro worked so hard today, and I know it's heartbreak for you after almost 10.5 hours of grueling effort to have it end like that. All we can say is better luck next time.
I hope so.
So with the car number 26 Ferrari out of the race, the Fords are now 1, 2, 3, and 4. Car 2 in first, then the Miles Roadster in second, then Walt Hansgen and Mark Donohue moved to third in car number 3, and Pete Revson and Skip Scott in a Ford GT40 have moved to fourth. And we have just received official word now on what happened at the Webster turn. The track announcement states that car number 26 hit the bank on the right. That was the Andretti-driven Pedro Rodriguez entry, veered left and hit car number 48, driving it to the left into the warehouse, and the reports have been confirmed that 4 spectators were killed in that tragic occurrence at the Webster turn. Car number 1, the Ford Roadster, coming in, Ruby getting out, and Ken Miles getting ready to go in during the closing moments of this race. Still running in second place, so Ken Miles is in the car. Now let's get another word with team manager Carol Shelby.
Carol, earlier in the day we checked with you, and you thought the strategy at that time was going real good. Now, with just moments, let's say, away from the finish line, things look awfully good.
Yes, they look a lot better than they did earlier, even when we were running 1, 2, 10. But the cars have held together, and we melted the others down. So keep our fingers crossed. It looks like in a few minutes will be our day.
Okay, see you later.
Bye, thank you.
And there is the scoreboard showing the Fords running running 1, 2, 3, and 4. And here comes the lead car in with just moments to go in the race. Jerry Grant in the cockpit, and undoubtedly with Dan Gurney standing by here in the pit area, he's going to get in the car to finish the race, Phil.
This will probably be the last pit stop for them tonight. Looks like the engine will take over and finish up.
Who would have thought that after nearly 12 hours they'd be in this position?
This thing is still going.
Just moments away from the end of the race now. And here is kind of alarming news. Car number 2, the lead car, has gone dead out on the course. And it is 10 o'clock straight up. The checkered flag is out, and no Dan Gurney.
For Pete's sake, here he is, and he's pushing it. He could be disqualified for that, Bill.
Gurney is actually pushing car number 2 in, and that means Ken Miles has crossed the finish line first. Miles and Ruby will be the winners of the 12-hour race of endurance at Sebring, and here comes Miles into victory lane. And the provisional results now list Miles and Ruby in first place, Gurney and Grant in second place, and we have Mark Donahue and Walt Hansgen in third place in a Ford, Pete Rebson and Skip Scott in a Ford in fourth place. And so, Miles and Ruby repeat the victory of Daytona and look forward to Le Mans next. And, of course, we'll be covering that live on June 18th by satellite. We'll be back to talk with the winners in just a moment.
Who will buy this wonderful feeling?
This is Jack Jones. One thing all minstrels had in common down through the ages was that they loved to sing, anytime, any place. And to help me pay tribute to those minstrels will be Tony Bennett,
I want to be around.
Joni Summers,
Was on the Isle of Capri that I found him beneath the shade of an old walnut tree.
Shani Wallace,
Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner that I think of her.
Molly B,
That little bitty teeny weeny thing they call a love bug. Nobody's ever seen it, but it's got the whole world shook up.
and Milton Berle.
This is Milton Berle. Watch Jack Jones on the Move. It's something special for you. In color on ABC.
Tuesday night at 10, 9 o'clock Central Time here on ABC.
And now we have the official results. The Miles Ruby team in the car number 1, the Ford Roadster, the official winner. The Gurney Grant car number 2, which led most of the way, was disqualified because it must come under the line under its own power. It came under manpower, as you saw, instead of horsepower, so they're out of it. The Hansgen Donahue car moves to second, and Scott and Revson third. Let's get some clarification from Phil Hill on that Gurney incident.
Dan, what happened?
Don't know. She stopped.
Where? I mean, how?
Just going down the straight.
And you coasted around as far as it'll go?
One lap to go.
Good grief. Thanks, Dan.
Right.
Well, Bill, that's about it.
Okay, well, here we are in victory lane, and as you can imagine, things are quite exciting right now. Ken Miles and Lloyd Ruby have won the second big long American road race. Ken, let me get a quick word with you. I talked to you a short time ago, and you didn't think you had a chance, and all of a sudden that incredible chain of events happened.
That's motor racing. I'm just very sorry for Dan because they really deserve to win this race. They drove a magnificent race. And it's a great sorry the car. It's a great pity the car back up at the last minute. I'm very sorry for them.
What thought went through your mind, Ken, when you saw Gurney out there dead? Or did you realize his car was dead?
I didn't believe it the first time, and I saw him the second lap round. I thought, what happened now? Poor old Dan.
Well, Lloyd is over here. We'd like to congratulate him, too, but I know Lloyd is being mobbed. He's got a garland of orange blossoms around him, and it's pretty hard to get to him. All we can do is say, congratulations, Lloyd.
Thank you. Very upset ending, but I'm happy, and I just wish Gurney to come on and made it a tie, but as long as we come 1-2, that's good enough.
It sure is. Well, congratulations to you. Congratulations again to you, Ken Miles, the winners of the 12-hour race of endurance here at Sebring. Now this is Bill Fleming speaking for Phil Hill, saying so long from Sebring, Florida.
The executive producer of ABC's Wide World of Sports is Rune Arlen. Today's program was produced by Chet Forty, directed by Lou Bovicelli, associate director Doug Wilson. Don't forget, next week, live from Brandon, Florida, you'll see the 1966 National AAU Men's Indoor Swimming and Diving Championships and the Sun Valley Challenge Cup, including some of the world's greatest skiers skiing at Sun Valley, Idaho. Sebring coverage produced in association with the Triangle Race Film Team. Blimp provided by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. The preceding program originated on color film and videotape. Air travel arrangements for ABC's Wide World of Sports made through United Airlines, who also furnished promotional consideration.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, the human drama of athletic competition. This has been ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Brought to you by the 3M Company and 3M Business Product Centers, where you can look to 3M for imagination in image making. By Groom and Clean for Men. It's the crystal clear water-active hairdressing that actually grooms and cleans with every combing, helps prevent greasy buildup. And by Wilkinson Sword Blade. Stainless steel, made in England, the Wilkinson Sword Blade. Finest shaving edge in the world.
This has been an ABC Television Network sports presentation.
Tony Bennett, Joni Summers, Molly B., Shaney Wallace, and yours truly, Uncle Milty. Guest star in a musical special, Jack Jones on the Move.
Tuesday at 10, 9 o'clock Central Time here on ABC.